Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today's video is actually a collaboration with my YouTube friend Melissa Botha. I will let her introduce herself.
Hi there, my name is Melissa Botha and I'm so excited to be collaborating with the lovely Jen from 1,000 Words. She has been so much help in our process of moving into New Zealand and I'm so excited to finally be working with her. We have been living the expat life for the last 5 years. It all began when we moved to Dubai from South Africa in 2013 and we lived and worked there for about 4 years, and then last year we made the move to New Zealand. I post videos all about being a mum, life in New Zealand, hacks, hauls and just about everything in between. I would absolutely love to have you as a viewer.
Melissa's videos are awesome. Do check out her channel if you want to see vlogs of a young family living in Auckland, if you want more moving to New Zealand themed videos. For instance, she has recently shared her actual budget, what they spend on all of their bills, which I know cost of living is a big question when you're planning on moving to New Zealand because cost of living is pretty high here. So definitely do go and check out her videos. She also has kind of lifestyle and healthy eating and food prep type videos, and I know my viewers enjoy those. So link to her channel down below. Today we are each going to talk about the things that we did differently the second time that we emigrated. So I've mentioned before that I emigrated from South Africa to England in 1999 and then from England to New Zealand in 2011. I was in a different stage of my life the second time. The first time we emigrated, Grant and I were newlyweds. Well, we've only been married for 4 years. We didn't have children yet. We didn't have very many responsibilities. The second time we moved was a little bit different. We weren't quite as footloose and fancy free. We had 2 kids to consider, and so we did do a few things differently the second time. So the first thing that we did differently the second time that we emigrated was we saved more money before going. The first time we emigrated, we got ancestry visas because Grant's grandparents were British, and we kind of sold and gave away everything that we owned pretty much, except for 6 boxes which had like sentimental goods and extra clothes and books and CDs and things like that, and we just took off to England. We didn't have a place to stay other than my cousin's living room floor. We only took £4,000 with us. We didn't have a car, we didn't have jobs, nothing, and there was a lot of pressure to get work, to get a place to stay, and to really manage that money because it wasn't gonna last long. We moved over on the 2nd of November, so it was fairly close to Christmas. There weren't a lot of people vacating their jobs, so there weren't many jobs available, and having more money would have just provided a bit more peace of mind, and we wouldn't have had such a crappy car that we first bought where, yeah, it was a bit of a disaster. We made it work. We didn't have kids to worry about. We were both working full-time when we got jobs. We were able to temp and just take whatever work was available. But the second time we moved, we knew we wanted to do things differently, and we had more money behind us. We were more aware of the startup costs of setting up a new life in a new country, and we definitely wanted to make sure our finances were in a better place before we made the move. So the first time we moved, we took, like I said, £4,000 with us, and I guess whatever our plane tickets cost and our visas cost, and that is what we spent, and shipping our 6 boxes over. So it wasn't that much money. The second time we went, we spent, I was trying to work it out, it was between £20,000 and £30,000 immigrating the second time, and it was a better way to do it in my opinion. The second thing that we did differently the second time we immigrated was we did way more research. So the first time we immigrated, the internet was in its infancy. You had to ask Jeeves if you wanted an answer off the internet. There wasn't very much available, and we didn't really know what we were getting into. We kind of knew. We had friends who'd gone to England. It was sort of the done thing at the time. People were going to England, either on a working holiday visa and saving up money while they were there, or going over on ancestry visas. It was just something that everyone was kind of doing, and you saw friends doing it, and I could chat to friends who had been there and do my research that way, but there was no YouTube, there was no internet searching, all that kind of thing. So we went sort of blindly. When we moved to New Zealand, YouTube was a thing. Programs like Wanted Down Under were available online. There were forums. There was just so much more information available, and I feel like we made a more informed choice and we were better prepared for having done more research. All I'd really known about England was what I'd read in books, what I'd seen on TV, and what my friends were telling me. So to actually be there and experience things was a bit of a shock to the system. There was more culture shock than I had expected, and I just feel like the more you can prepare and the more research you can do before moving, the better off you'll be. The third thing we did differently the second time we immigrated was we came over with a job in place. I think this is kind of necessary now anyway to get visas. The visa rules are changing all of the time. I'm not qualified nor legally allowed to give anybody visa advice, but from what I understand, if you want to come over on a skilled migrant visa or residency or whatever, you need a job before you come. When we moved over to New Zealand, that was not the case. You did not have to have the job, but we didn't get enough points to qualify for residency unless we had a job. Grant was in the police at the time, and he managed to get a job before we moved over. He was the second last person that they allowed through in their international recruitment phase. They were shutting that down just as he applied, so he didn't have any of the expedited training, he didn't have any of the interviews and things taking place in England. He had to do it the hard way, but he was still allowed to do it, whereas now you need to be, I believe, a resident here to be able to apply to the police. But anyway, that's all beside the point. Point being, he got the job before we moved over. That was such a long, stressful process. It took 2 years, and yeah, it was incredibly hard, but it was so worth it to know that at least he had employment when we moved over and could provide for our family. When we moved to England, that was not the case. Neither of us had jobs. Like I said, we didn't even have a place to stay besides my cousin's living room floor, which was not ideal. That was definitely a temporary situation, and there was a lot of pressure. We were in a brand new country, new to us. We wanted to explore, we wanted to do things, but we had to hoard our money and we had to spend all of our time looking for jobs because that was where the pressure was. And doing it the second time with a job in place just provided us with so much more security and a bit of freedom to kind of settle and enjoy our new life without that pressure of having to find a job. The fourth thing that we did differently the second time we immigrated is we shipped everything we owned. The first time when we moved from Cape Town to England, we, like I said, took 2 suitcases with us, our carry-ons, and 6 small boxes of bits and pieces, but we didn't take any of our household goods. And I did kind of regret it because we had to set up our home in England, and I would be buying a lamp and thinking I had a perfectly good lamp back in Cape Town, and now I don't have it, and I've had to buy a lamp again when I already had one. So why did we get rid of everything and not send it over? So the second time we immigrated, we shipped everything. We flat packed or dismantled as much of our furniture as we could, and we just jammed as much as we could into that 20-foot container, and it was so the right choice. It was so much less expensive to pay for the shipping and get that sent over than to replace everything in our household. I also feel like it helped us and our kids to settle more easily once our things arrived and they had their familiar goodies around them and their toys and their usual bedroom furniture and our usual sofas and all the things that we're familiar from our home in England. I just feel like that helped towards making our home feel like our home. There was a 12-week wait between shipping our goods and receiving them, but it was totally worth it, and I would recommend shipping everything. And then the fifth thing that we did differently the second time we immigrated is a tip that I've mentioned a number of times before, and it's a small thing, but it made a big difference to us, and that was to not have airport goodbyes. So the first time we immigrated, we were driven to the airport by, I think, Grant's parents, and we had our friends there, and his parents there, and my family was there, and there were all these goodbyes, and you had all these people to kind of, you know, make sure that you spoke to and give attention to, and we were thinking about this flight ahead of us and this big move we were making, and it was all just completely overwhelming and kind of stressful, to be honest. The second time we immigrated, we did all of our friend and family goodbyes ahead of time. We went and spent the night at a hotel close to the airport the night before we flew, and then the next day it was just our family focusing on getting on that plane and getting out of there and looking forward to our new life and facing that 25-hour plane ride. And it was just so much better that way. It was sad saying goodbye to family, it was stressful, there's grief, there's guilt, there's all these other emotions swirling around, and I just felt like it was so much better to separate that from our actual leaving and have that before, and then a night's sleep, and then a fresh start of just our family. I know this can be difficult. I know that some family and friends won't accept it if you say you just want to say goodbye before the airport and they're going to want to come and see you off. But if you can get away with not doing the airport goodbyes, I highly recommend it. It was such a better way to leave. So those are 5 things that I could think of that we did differently the second time we emigrated with a little bit of experience and hindsight. They may or may not be the right things for you, but they were definitely the right things for us the second time. If you want to see what Melissa's 5 things were that she did differently the second time she emigrated, do hop over to her channel. I will link her video down below. If you are new here from Melissa's channel, hi, I'm happy to have you here. Thank you so much for watching my videos, and I would love to have you as a subscriber. If any of you have requests for more moving to New Zealand or immigrating related videos, please leave them in the comments down below and I will see what I can do about them. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.